previous episode of Menage À Mind.
So it requires so much empathy, so much understanding, and so much softness.
My Achilles heel growing up has always been my fucking patience.
That's perfect.
That's the whole story, is the shit that I'm not supposed to be talking about. Shit.
All right. So how's your mental health?
Man, it's a lot better than it used to be.
Uh-huh.
But I believe there's always a little bit of room for improvement. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
My mental health is thank you for asking, by the way. My mental health. Now, my mental health is cool right now. I have this thing where I started thinking about like my curiosity on life, right? And how curious I am with like with life and staying curious to like be here, because I have thoughts of curiosity when it comes to death, and not in like a suicidal manner, but in a way of just like, what is going to happen when that time comes? What is that going to look like? What is that going to feel like? I have a curiosity for that as much as I do life, and I have to find more of a curiosity within life to stay here.
Mm. Yeah. Wow, that's big. That's huge. There's a guy, someone named Ramdas. He says death is like taking off a tight shoe.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's like, fuck.
it's like, it's
like,
just the release, and then you just probably move on. But the curiosity is big, and that's been a huge thing for me lately, is moving through what I went through, and we'll speak about that.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually sitting in ceremony like a couple weeks ago, and it's funny that you bring it up. And one of my teachers told me that when you move through something so big in life, and like something so traumatic, and something that can be such a big part of your identity, and you lose that, you have a huge hole to fill. So he told me to fill that hole up with creativity, curiosity, and love. So I've been really sitting with that lately, like, man, because when I stay curious and I'm creative and I want to learn and I'm excited about things, life is great. But when I take it too seriously, just like the whole death thing, it's like, when I take it too seriously, it becomes a burden,
living starts feeling like working,
instead
of like actually living or being alive.
That's what we're here for, right?
Is to live.
Yeah,
that is a fact. We are just here to live, and how we live is just determined by like us.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just that it's just that. So like filling that hole, like for me, it was like traveling, right? Having experiences that I haven't had before, or experiences that I find interesting that I haven't had before. And now it's not a fight to, but I find myself trying to find things just to still be curious about. And filling that hole for me was with love, right? Because at the time where I was like dwindling with like feeling like, I'm curious about what's going to happen if I do this, or if I go to this place. I started finding that those things started to dwindle for me. I started finding less things to be curious about until I meet Mila, of course. And she doesn't fill that whole void, but she fills that curious nature for me. So I'm interested to see where it all goes.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I think plant medicines could be very helpful in tapping on into that curiosity and of life, and like what's out there, what we can achieve in this life, and cool.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah,
and the reason why I don't disagree with you, and the reason why I actually want to talk to you today, because about plant medicine, because you blew that fucking earth shit, that dirt up my nose. But I do want to go into not only plant medicine, but guided, like, I guess, guided meditation, or some type of guidance, because I feel like I've figured out and flowed through my sovereignty and my spirituality on my own, and now I want to do it in a way where there's some type of like leadership right? And then I feel like plant medicine is my current direction that I want to go down because I feel like it makes me more grounded.
Mm.
And being that it is from the earth, like I'm always in my head.
Yeah.
I'm an air sign too, so I'm always like in the air, thinking, like wondering. And now I want to be like more grounded. I want to see what it feels like to just be back within the earth, or be back within the center
In-
part of myself.
in your body,
Yeah,
present. Yeah.
present,
Yeah.
present. All right, let's get this started. Adam, welcome. Welcome.
Well,
I'm happy to have you.
Thank you for having me.
The reason why you're also a very special guest right now is because you are not somebody that I had on a list on like, hey, I need to podcast with this person, whatever. I need to have this person on. This would be great. This is somebody, you're somebody that I know through Mila's best friend, who you're their brother. We are friends now. And I've known you in about a year, but I've also been to your wedding. Also, thank you for that wedding.
Yeah.
And congratulations, because I got some great pictures.
That's all you're gonna talk about, the picture? What about the food and all this stuff?
Food was great.
Yeah.
The place was great. Y'all look beautiful. Everything. It was one of the best weddings I've been to.
Thank you, man. I appreciate
hands
it.
down. I loved it all, and I really got some amazing flicks off. So
Yeah,
that was great.
cool.
But in this time that I've met you, I've found like everything that I find out more about you is just so much more interesting, right? And I want these stories to also like be heard and be known, and knowing that like your knowledge of plant medicine and your the experience that I had with you blowing this shit up my nose, the earth, what is it called?
It's called hape. It's a tobacco.
Yeah, let me stop calling it earth shit.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be a good start. And
Mhm.
yeah, it's a tobacco mixed with different plants, different ashes of
Right.
different plants.
Yeah. So before
yeah.
I even start rambling on, I'm happy that you're here because I can have a convo with somebody that has an experience with doing these things, right? Experiencing plant medicine. And so people can hear it. And obviously, I am definitely about to go out on this journey and try it. So before we even start talking, can you please lead us in this chant?
All right. I'm stealing this one from someone, so
perfectly fine.
Hopefully they don't watch this video. All right, so I'm just gonna do this one chant, and it sounds like this. It's I and just take a couple deep breaths before we do it.
All right.
Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
That was good.
Yeah. Does it really open up your pineal gland in your crown chakra? You can do the chant and carry out the sound for a long time. Yeah.
Wow, that feels good. I like feeling. So I did chant on one time on the podcast, and I realized just the vibrations just made me feel like there was a whole different connection that opened me up, like from my head and like.
So yeah, upwards. So like the Ong is like Ong is like a starter, so it's like
Yeah.
it's like the start of a mantra. Usually, it's the start of a mantra, or like Om. It's the starter, so it gives the mantra energy. So it's
Yeah,
like
it opens it up.
Ong, and then yeah,
Whatever comes after
yeah,
that, you're already open to
yeah. It's
accepting.
yeah. It's like a charging up the mantra.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's cool.
Okay. All right, let's get into why we are here. And obviously, it's for you, right? Before we even get into plant medicine, right? Because I don't think anybody just gets born and just like, gets,
Yeah.
what's it called again? The earth.
Hape.
And nobody gets happy just blow up their nose
Yeah.
like one time. So where does the journey to like plant medicine or like healing and would you consider yourself a shaman? I don't want to quote
No,
incorrectly.
no,
Okay.
no,
Your sister
definitely.
called you somewhat of a shaman.
People
before.
just don't really understand
Yeah.
how deep it is, and
Mhm.
I would never even ever even refer to myself as that. That's crazy.
Because of the practice and the things you
Yeah,
have to go
like
down.
there's initiations, there's
Yeah.
strict diets you have to go on. Like it's
Yeah.
and it's not something that everybody just want to be.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
not it wouldn't be
it's just not a title that you could just tack on
yeah,
yourself
you
and
can't
and
just
nobody's
put
not going
that.
to ask
Yeah,
questions.
exactly. So that's
It's like
just
walking in like I'm the
ridiculous.
president. Like
I feel like I'm at a place in my life where I've done a lot of work on myself and a lot of healing.
Mhm.
All types of healing, ancestral healing,
Mhm.
inner child wounds, all that.
Yeah.
I've done it all, and so I feel like another path is kind of opening up for me, and that's just the path of learning.
Yeah.
And I don't think that path ever ends. Like it's just
Mhm.
once you choose to go down that path, then that path doesn't ever end. So I just consider myself a student of this of this earth, and yeah, like I wouldn't consider myself a shaman, but I do plan to go down to the Amazon and study and yeah, and learn more.
Mhm.
Definitely super curious.
I gotta remember student of the earth. Like that's the title. That's a good student of the earth. So where does the journey start? Like why do we start this journey of healing? Like for you?
For me, everybody's story is going to be different, right?
Mhm.
For me, kind of happened just by the grace of God. I was at the time when I first started working with medicine, psychedelics, whatever. I was in Narcotics Anonymous. I was completely sober. I was like trying to do that whole thing. And that wasn't easy. That's you know what I mean? Like I wasn't that it just didn't feel right. You know what I mean? Because I like to smoke weed. I like to do all types of shit. Like, I like to smoke weed and like that it was too much restrictions and too much like
with the Narcotics Anonymous.
Yeah,
with the NA.
Yeah,
okay,
NA,
gotcha.
Yeah, so my first experience, one of my first experiences, I was in Narcotics Anonymous, and I ended up doing like a little ceremony at my house. Like I just put on some meditations, and I was sitting with LSD. It was my first time ever, and completely just that one experience just changed my whole life. And yeah, it just like changed the trajectory of my life and put me onto the spiritual path. I started meditating every day, and then I started working with it a lot, like once a week, once every other week. And I would just sit with LSD and meditate and study, and I became more conscious of everything about the way I was living. And so the reason I'm on this healing path is because I've been working for over 10 years. I was addicted to like narcotics and opiates and really heavy, like, so a lot of close calls. Yeah, it was a crazy time for me. So my healing journey has been like ever since I was 19. I got addicted to heroin. And so I've been trying to like figure out how to heal myself ever since then, unfortunate for a lot of my friends, they never like try to get on that path. So lost like everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
So then seeing all that gets you to go like, you know what, let's really make this change.
Yeah. And then like I told the other day, you sent me a message at like 7:30 in the morning, and you're like, oh, confirm the time for the podcast. And I was doing this meditation. It was just a chakra meditation, and I was at my throat chakra.
Mm-hmm.
It's super weird. I know I sound like a weirdo, but I really don't give a shit because it's true.
No, this is the perfect place to sound weird.
So I was doing this whole meditation, and it was
Mhm.
like, from the root chakra up, and I was at my throat chakra. And all of a sudden, you came up in my meditation, and it was just like, why is like I was trying to comprehend. I was like, oh shit, and then kind of my throat chakra just kind of opened up, and I was like, okay, I get it. Like I need to share my story and speak about this type of stuff because that is medicine.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's medicine. There's different forms of medicine. There's plant medicine. There's this kind of medicine where we speak and we're able to talk, which is beautiful because it's not something that a lot of men are able to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I got on the path.
That's also super important, like understanding that feeling that right there in that throat chakra. So I'm still also trying to learn more about like your chakras, alignment, being present, the grounding part, the spiritual part, the opening and upper chakras, whatever, everything that it is. I'm trying to understand more, but feeling that energy alignment and feeling that energy of like your throat chakra and like when there could be a blockage that you can't speak but having a space in podcasting where you can constantly let out what you're thinking and what you're feeling, that ease, that pressure that gets off your back just from speaking. People be like, don't you feel so much better now that you got that off your chest? Like I've realized that's a real thing. And then learning a little bit more about like those chakras and stuff like that. And then knowing when I feel that blockage right there in my throat and then finally getting over the hill and the hump and speaking, letting it out. And then after it's done, it's like, oh man, that feels
cool.
so much better.
Yeah.
I mean, just like a Tylenol or ibuprofen would help a headache and stuff like that. Just speaking has like help with like the weight or headaches or like just whatever's on my chest, anxiety at that. So yeah, I'm so happy that you felt it right there in your throat chakra because I don't always necessarily know the spiritual definitions of things, but I know when I'm feeling certain things in certain places. And I know when I'm feeling things on my chest, on my throat, when things on my mind. And I know when I use that energy through my throat chakra or whatever to speak and then feeling like my head doesn't hurt as much. There's not as much pressure on my chest anymore. It's like, okay, speaking is medicine.
It's all connected.
It's all very much so connected.
Yeah, you're so...
So this meditation and this LSD trip that you had, and you said this is the first time you were doing LSD in this space.
Yeah, first time I did.
What made you want to try LSD for this ceremony?
I was living out of the country and I was looking for mushrooms and I couldn't find any. And then one of my boys was like, "Just get some LSD," and I was like, "What, LSD?" And then I did it, and it just like opened up all new worlds for me. Yeah, completely changed. Literally, completely changed my life.
Yeah. I don't know much about LSD, right? So, but I do feel that when you put an intention on the usage of things, it literally could be anything, small or big, in my eyes, right?
Yeah.
That it could put your mind in a certain space to accept it in a certain way so that when your mental space and your chemicals in your body mix with the LSD, that it's going to give you a clarification to go down a certain journey. Whereas if you didn't give it an intention, right? Or if you didn't create a whole ceremony around it.
Yeah. Of course.
And you just use it or people are using it maybe just like a casual drug.
Yeah.
But I wholeheartedly can see, and I actually don't think it's weird why the ceremonial aspect behind doing it is weird. And I can also understand why it set you down that path. It's because you opened up your mind and your body to it.
Yeah.
If I were to assume.
No, that's probably the most important part is just that space.
Yeah.
Like having that safe container and, really getting really clear on what you want.
Yeah.
And what you're sitting with medicine for. Yeah. And, in that space, I was doing some meditation, and it was about forgiveness. And I don't know what happened, but it was like talking about forgiving people that hurt you and this and that. And then at the end of it, it was like, okay, now look at yourself and look at all the shit you did to yourself and forgive yourself.
Yeah.
And I just screamed at the top of my lungs, like, I forgive you. And then I fucking, boom, I disintegrated and I blasted off. And yeah, and then I came back and the shit was never the same. I swear. That's the first time I did LSD. That shit was wild. And then I was like, whoa, this is some amazing, powerful medicine. And I did abuse it for a while because I still, even though it helped me with my addiction, I was still, I still had the addictive behaviors because I was in that cycle of addiction. So anything that I could find to abuse, I would abuse it a little bit.
Even in the sense of like having this good intention and this change, but I mean,
it's like I wanted it, more.
You wanted to change more. Now I want
and then I chased
more.
that one experience for about 2 years. Yeah, and then I haven't used it. I haven't used it for a couple of years now.
Okay. So now that you're going down like this new journey now, it's changed your your trajectory, right? Because you're still on a healing path, right? But now it's pivoted into. I guess, I mean, at the moment, you might not have known it's going to pivot to this direction.
Yeah, never.
But it pivoted, right? And so now next, you go from LSD abusing and then, of course, stop abusing. Yeah. Right? And then what is that?
Yeah, I'm not abusing, but it's just like
you were
taking advantage of like the experiences that I was having. And like, I was super not grounded, right? Because LSD, for me at least, it's very astral, like you're going out
to the universe,
like you're time traveling and all types of shit. And it's when you come back, sometimes it's kind of hard to integrate those experiences, and you're just like a little spacey, and at that time I became like fully vegan, and I stopped eating meat, I stopped eating everything, and I would I was like thinking like I was kind of like going a little bit too spiritual and not very balanced. And I was like, thinking like, oh, I need to do long fasts and strict fasts and like not really enjoying these experiences, like like life and stuff. And I don't know, it was kind of weird. So now I'm kind of feeling a little bit more grounded working with other medicines, other plant medicines.
Feel like you're more in the middle than on the two ends of the spectrum.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is, wherever you choose to be is cool, but I feel like balance is super important, especially like we live in these cities and we gotta go to I gotta go to work.
No,
at the moment, you know what I mean?
Because you got to find out how you can like heal and live life at the same time.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I got to pay the bills and stuff, so it's like I can't just be
LSD and healing up. Like,
you know what I mean? So it's a little bit more of like embodied, like I'm here, I'm present, and
I kind of try to look at sometimes like you're one person on a seesaw, and then you're running to each side. So it's like, oh, I'm doing an LSD trip because I need the spiritual healing. Oh, I'm too far into the spiritual. I need to get back more in the grounding. It's like, no, I've gone too far. I need to come back. So it's like, but when you find your like space in the middle, and honestly, maybe. And I'm so happy that we still have you here and you're able to overcome and all these things, but maybe diving into it and realizing that, oh, these are my limits or my boundaries with it, right? I don't need to go this far, right? Or if I had that experience and that's where I need to go, no, I need to find a new experience. But you don't. We're human. We don't know that until we indulge, until we try, right? So I can understand why looking for that experience and it being so like pivotal and changing for you can be a thing for everyone. And it doesn't even have to be LSD. This could be food. This could be shopping. This could be a lot of other things. And this could even be talking when you start talking too much and not listening enough. Right. So it's like medicine comes in all shapes and forms, and it also affects you in all different shapes and forms. Whew. So now we get past the 2 years of the acid. So now, do you go more into like plant-based or finding other things?
Just maybe recently in the past year, I was just changed up everything in my diet and everything. So
What's Oh, well, you've done some more ceremonies since then.
Oh yeah.
So what are the ones you have?
Well, yeah, I was start sitting with more mushrooms and things like that. And then sitting with ayahuasca. And that like opened up a whole other world for me.
So can you tell me, all right, let's stick to the ayahuasca for a second, right? Because it's being more spoken about now. I I still feel like I need to know more about it, but I'm happy I have now somebody that can sit down.
Mm.
Now, ayahuasca. It's a plant, right? Go.
It's,
Two
um,
plants. All right,
yeah,
please let me know. What is
yeah.
ayahuasca?
So it's the ayahuasca and the ayahuasca vine and the chacuna,
Mhm.
and they mix it. I guess they can different tribes mix it with different plants. Some people
Mhm.
just keep it straight. So yeah, it's just jungle brew.
Oh, so they mix it
Yeah,
into a
so
drink.
it's I mean basically it's they've they have to mix the plants because DMT is typically, if you ingest it, it doesn't activate.
Mhm.
So mixed with the mixture, it activates in your stomach.
Oh, okay.
It's like a slow release of DMT
Ah.
instead of like if you would see people smoke DMT and just blast off.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
it's a drink that's
Yeah.
you drink it and it's in your system and
Mhm.
you have
So one is it, and then one is the activator.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a I forgot what it's called. It's a something inhibitor.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna crack my head over it.
It's all good.
But yeah, so basically just those two plants and then yeah,
They put it into a drink form.
it's a drink and then it's
Mhm.
prayed over and blessed and it's a very like um you know
Intimate ritual and
yeah
shit like
like a
that.
very
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
delicate process where
Mhm.
it's like the shaman is working over it, praying over it, setting the intentions for the brews
Yeah.
and it is the feminine energy and it's they call it grandmother
Ah.
ayahuasca. So
Uh-huh.
um it has that energy
Mhm.
of your grandma, where
Does it give like
she
ancestral
can
energy too?
for sure, yeah, it can
Ah.
open up all those types of things and every time you sit it's a little bit different.
Mhm.
So your experiences can vary. I mean, it depends.
Mhm.
Sometimes some people are very visionary. I'm not like that visionary, but I've had super um incredible experiences,
Mhm.
but I usually don't get the vision, so it
Yeah.
hits me in other ways.
Well, what's what?
But
Can you tell us one way it says you?
I get sometimes I get audible downloads where
Mhm.
it's like, for instance, one time, because in the ceremonies in ayahuasca they mix it with the music,
Uh-huh.
and that's really what like is the heart of the ceremony is the music, right? Throughout the
Mhm.
night or the chanting and the music.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, sometimes I'll get like audible downloads. For instance, like one time, um, it's like if I was like a keyboard right here and someone was just like
Playing you like you
no,
were
no,
playing.
not playing like a
Uh,
keyboard, like a computer keyboard.
oh,
And all
okay.
I just heard in my brain was like just like a reprogramming in my brain for like 10
Uh-huh.
minutes and just like super loud and like you're like looking around to hear where the sounds are coming from, but they're coming
Mhm.
and it's like yeah, so weird stuff like that. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I mean it sometimes it's kind of hard to talk about the experiences. You can have experiences with your ancestors, with loved ones.
Mhm.
Different spirits come,
Mhm.
and sometimes they come and they work on you.
Yeah.
They'll come into your body and they just
Mhm.
start working on you, and you'll be feeling real.
Yeah.
You'll be like before they come, you'll be like, oh my god, like what's going on? You'll be hurting, like you don't know
You
what's
feel
going on.
everything, and then something comes in and just.
Yeah, and you're just like hurting. You're like, you don't know how you're gonna make it through the fucking night, right? And then
Mhm.
all of a sudden, these spirits, sometimes they call them the doctor spirits, they come into your body and you literally see them as like fractal lights, and they come in your body, and they're inside of you, and they just do their work, and then they just leave. And as soon as they leave, you just like pop up, like
Wow.
yeah. So no, seriously, I mean, it's happened to me a couple times, but
Mm.
so yeah, I mean, that's just very beautiful medicine. And then in the ceremonies, they also work with other medicines and plants and like the hape, which is the
Yeah.
sacred tobacco snuff, where
Mhm.
usually they do it before ceremony just to set intentions to get grounded and to kind of, you know, clear your mind,
Oh yeah,
clear the
definitely
energy.
clears your mind.
Yeah.
It shook my shit the fuck up.
So you do that. Yeah, you do that before ceremony and
Mhm.
just get real clear, like
Yeah.
like a freaking arrow. You know, like what's your intention?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then yeah. So there's a lot of other medicines and
Mhm.
that people don't know about, and I think there's like up to like 100 different plants in the Amazon that they consider like
Plant medicine.
yeah, like master plants.
Uh-huh.
That can be guides
Mhm.
and worked with. And, so yeah,
I always hear about the ceremony itself and like these downloads and like all these experiences people have, and sometimes they go into like a tent or like a encapsulating space or something like
okay,
that.
yeah.
What is like because with an experience like this, I would expect it to be intense when trying to like reacclimate, right? So like what is the like aftercare for doing the ayahuasca experience like?
The aftercare,
Or is it just like,
um,
or that was the
no,
care
for
and
sure,
aftercare?
no,
Mm.
no. The real work is after the ceremony. Like, you know,
Mhm.
it's you know, it's great to sit in the ceremony, but what are you going to do afterwards, right?
Yeah.
Like, so the aftercare is super important, and it's just taking care of yourself, being mindful
Mhm.
what you're, you know,
Indulging in.
watching and what you're
Mhm.
eating and where you're putting your energy. And yeah, you just kind of want to be like, you know, to yourself for a few days and still try to process everything. But sometimes, I mean, the morning after you're good and you process everything. Sometimes it's like, oh my God, like I don't know how I'm ever going to process this. And it might take
Yeah.
you a month or two to figure it out.
Mhm.
And then along the way, like things will happen. You're like, oh shit, that's what that was in ceremony.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like those messages are like in ceremony,
Yeah.
but then they manifest in the physical form.
Mhm.
So that's yeah, kind of cool.
Mm.
But the aftercare is just love, you know, just taking care of yourself, love yourself.
Mhm.
That's
That's very
it.
interesting because I met Mila like a month 2020 November of 2020. I met Mila, and then when we went to Mexico together, like the New Year's going from 2020 to 2021, she had just had like this LSD experience, right? And she just told me like it was just this crazy ancestral experience, and she could feel her ancestors, and she just screamed. And then after she came back, she had this experience. Then I literally met her the very next day in Mexico
Oh
to
shit.
link up with her, right? And then after I met her, I just like drowned her in love, right? Drowned her in affection, like, and we had such a crazy, amazing experience together. And so after she has this LSD experience, this is also she was the first person I took shrooms with, which was a month before in November. And now we go and we take shrooms again, like just chilling and just having a good time. But there's this one experience where I'm laying, and we're agreeing that shroom is plant medicine also, right?
What happened?
That shroom is plant medicine also.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So at the
They
time,
call them the spirit of the mushroom is they call it the spirit of like the children. So they're very playful, and then
Yeah.
sometimes they could be like, you know, a little rough, right? Because they're children. Right?
yeah. So they can't really gauge like how they're gonna give it to you, right?
So
Which will make so much.
very creative. Like you get creative.
Oh, watch when I tell you what the
So,
fuck
yeah.
happened to me, right? So I'm sitting there, and we do this like boat. This is January 1st, 2021. I'm on a boat with me and my friends. Danielle and Lana's there, right? We're just chilling, and me and Mila, right? We're there. We do shrooms, and then at the end of the closing to like when we're going back to dock, I'm laying on my back and Mila's on top of me, and I'm looking at the sky, and the sun is setting, so it seems like half night, like half day, and then I'm looking at her, and then the next thing I know, it felt like it happened for like 5 to 10 minutes, but it was instantaneous. Felt like my body got taken out and thrown up into the universe, like just I'm levitating like above earth, and then I just felt like pressure come from my left and my right side, and it felt like my head just like grew, and like knowledge just kept like being thrown into my mind, and then my body just like dropped and fell right into myself. And then I'm just looking at Mila, and I'm like, and then tears like slowly started coming down my eyes. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just feel like I just got hit with so much knowledge
Mm.
and how sensitive like the balance between love and what we have is. And that there's so much love in so many different spaces, but there's so much heartbreak and hurt also. And then maybe there's a love between the sun and the moon, but the sacrifice is that they'll never meet, because if the sun and the moon ever meet, that means destruction for all of us, and we'll never be here. And that's a sacrifice that they take so that I can sit right here and love you too. I start bawling. And I was like, I don't know where the fuck this came from. This is amazing fucking experience right now.
Yeah.
And then ever since like I had that experience with her, I've always felt like I've just had like a different perspective on life, love, and ancestry since then. And then there's just times where I felt like I've known Mila for like millions of years. And this is not the first time we've met. And so I've never been able to take plant medicine before because of the job that I was doing when I was in New York, and they were drug testing. But when I found out, like, you know, shrooms you could take, and it's just like it can get out your body like in a good
They were
time.
testing for that stuff too?
I didn't know what the fuck. They
Oh,
were
okay.
testing for everything, but I wasn't gonna like take the risk. And it was random drug testing, so I could like, you know, play around and get away with it.
Yeah, I know how that is.
Yeah. So so when I finally have this experience, I'm like, wow, I've never felt like that before. And maybe I was so much more open to knowing and just knowing more about myself and like experiences that would just come to me. So I got that from plant medicine, and now it makes me more interested in, and the reason why it makes me more interested in doing it is because of the grounding aspect, or feeling like I'll be more within myself. And I felt that with shrooms, and even though it feel like it took me out to the universe, the one thing it really did was put me back in my body. And when I do when I meditate, or I think to myself, or I try to like self-heal or do therapy or whatever, I always find myself like going up into my head, but I never find anything that'll bring me back down. And so this is why I want to try ayahuasca and like other plant medicine things. I feel like it could be a real grounding sediment for me.
Yeah. Well, you know, mushrooms are super grounding, and they say because, you know, mushrooms they grow on the earth, right? So yeah, mushrooms can be super grounding.
Right. So the next thing I want to ask about was the hape, right? Because you gave a beautiful explanation about what it was, and also that the fact that it is tobacco, but it's not.
Yeah.
All right, wait. You gave a great explanation about tobacco, right? So I want to start there, and this is about the tobacco that's in the hape.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so the explanation was the difference between the tobacco the way it's being used now and the way it's meant to be used, like how.
Oh, you mean like
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a tobacco that grows wildly in the jungles, in the Amazon. So it's not like humans aren't modifying it or doing whatever. But and basically tobacco is a sacred plant medicine, like a master plant. It's considered, you know, the grandfather spirit. So has like that grandfather energy, which is wisdom and patience and strength and courage and clarity. And so tobacco is really sacred. And like most people don't know that. Even my girl be giving me shit sometimes. But I'm like, listen, I'm working with it in a different way. I'm not. So, anyways, tobacco is used really. You know, what goes up must come down. So when they work with the tobacco and they smoke with the tobacco, they pray with the tobacco, and it's super powerful. So it's basically just a carrier service.
Oh, okay.
For your prayers
and
your intentions, right?
Yeah.
So it's used to pray, and then
make sure that your prayer reaches its destination.
Yeah. It bridges to the ancestors, the spiritual realm, and it's an offering also to the ancestors and to the spirits. They love this. It's like spirits love copal. They love tobacco also, like that. So yeah, it's used to pray. And so if we're using it in this society, This is something I learned recently too, you know,
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago, something like that. But we use it in society, and usually we're just smoking tobacco like mindlessly, and or when we're stressed out, and so we are stressed out and we're smoking.
Mm-hmm.
What are we thinking about, and what are we manifesting? What are we putting out there, right? Like our thoughts are so powerful, and uh, so that's how they kind of flipped it on us and
Mm.
perverted that tobacco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting. So when you first tell me this, I'm like, oh wow, it's so crazy how we have we've been spiritually inclined, and
Mm.
we still are spiritually inclined, but we're taking things and, I guess, for lack of a better word, damaging it and
Mm.
using it in the wrong ways. And doing that is getting us further away from like our sovereignty and our spirituality. But because these spiritual tools or tobacco or things that were like these grandfather spirits and still have like these remnants, it is still there.
Mm.
And I wholeheartedly feel like, okay, smoking a cigarette and taking tobacco that way will make you feel one way, but doing it the right way will make you feel, oh, I know this feeling. This feeling is familiar, but this is the right way to feel this feeling. At least that's what I'm taking from it.
Yeah, it's like just remembering.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just us remembering. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these plants were used for thousands of years. Like tobacco is used for just thousands of years in
Yeah.
all different ways, right? They would drink it all different ways for
Mm-hmm.
all different type of medical purposes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Hape,
Hmm.
right? What is that? Because I just know it as like dirt you blow up your nose.
It just tobacco.
Grind it.
It is the Nicotina rustica, so it's like the mapacho tobacco, the jungle tobacco, in powder form and mixed with different plants and different ashes
Yeah.
and things like that. And each blend can have a different effect on you, and you administer it through the nostrils.
Mm-hmm.
Super strong and powerful, and it's it can just kind of really drop you into your prayers, and
Mm-hmm.
um
It also makes you
yeah.
cry.
Yeah, it can just open up
Yeah.
open up the tear ducts, and just not even crying, it's just
Yeah.
leaking,
Yeah.
which is a way of releasing emotions and
Mm-hmm.
trauma that could be stuck in the body. I don't know, but
Oh,
yeah,
really?
yeah.
I thought it was just like just the reaction makes you cry, but it's really opening.
Well,
'cause-
what I'm trying to say is that
Mhm.
water holds memory.
Right.
So when we cry, you could be releasing. It could be a release of
Yeah.
energy,
Mm-hmm.
memories, and trauma experience.
Yeah. I'm not against it because I've always had an issue crying. Like growing up, like I would feel strong emotions, but I've always found that it was hard to cry. Now I've gotten older, I feel more in tune with
me
my
too.
emotions, and now like can't fucking stop crying.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, man. Fuck, when I cry, I'm like, man, it's a good day.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't cry too often, but when I do, it feels great.
I was like, wow, finally could express this
Yeah.
emotion exactly how I want to. So
Yeah.
I don't know if like is the right word. I don't know if I like the feeling of or like my tears just flowing down like that, but I do like knowing that, and then that's the reason why it's coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when you did it, I felt like my head was like staticky and like tingly.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Well, I gave you really strong. Like the blend I had was really strong, so I apologize.
It's like you gonna feel this,
but yeah, and it was your first time, so it might have been a little intense.
Yeah.
But what were you asking? What was the tingling?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's the tobacco's going straight up into your nasal cavity, and then it's working on the pineal gland, and
yeah.
So
it kind of felt like, you know, you get water up your nose, right? And then
I hate that.
you know that feeling, you
get that.
Yeah, and you feel like that tingly in your head. So it felt similar to that, right? So I'm assuming that similarity is because of something going up your nose, and that's how like your brain or your body will react. The only difference was I felt it start right here and then statically slowly like just go like it felt like it was inside my skull, and then like all my nerves and neurons were like being activated at the same time. Like I could see, like I can feel. It's so weird because you know like how it shows like your nerves like running on different lines and paths. It seems like I could feel like all of it like activating. I could feel like all of it lighting up, all the nerves in my brain and neurons and everything just lighting up.
Awesome.
And it started from like the middle of my forehead and then just expanded all the way to the back of my neck, but expanded like outwards and around. And I know when I was doing it, I was like rubbing my head. But as I'm rubbing my head, it just felt like something was there and it needed to either be thought through, let out, or you know, sometimes when you eat too much junk and you finally drink some water, it's like, this hurts, but in a good way. Like I'm supposed to be drinking this. Everything hurts because whatever it's in there was fucking me up. Or when you have a hangover, right? And you wake up drunk the next day and you finally drink some water, it's like everything hurts right now, but I can't. It needs to hurt to then feel better. And so, when I was sitting there, I wasn't taking it all in, the staticky feeling. I wasn't taking it in as pain. I was taking it in as a feeling that's making me burst into tears even more. It's making my head feel scratchy. But when I sat with the why of why it's happening, I did know for sure that I had so much shit jumbled in my head, and I had to figure out how I can like cabinet file everything and just like release it out.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, that's that medicine is super good for that.
Mhm.
You have like they call it monkey mind, and your mind is all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, some people I've heard like say they compare it to like ice plunge or something like that, where just shock, like
Yeah.
it's just a shock for your entire nervous system just goes into shock for a second. So it's similar to that.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting how your body goes into this shock or feelings like that like immediately, and now you kind of have to be so present and so grounded and figure out how am I going to maneuver through this space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you just like back off and don't try to figure anything out.
Yes, that's another way of
and
just seeing like where it goes. So now we do the hape before, which is the grandfather energy, and then go into the ayahuasca ceremony, which is the grandmother energy. And this is probably why it feels like your ancestors just leading you or just like bringing you down this path.
Yeah,
because you have the power of both.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing that another reason why I want to go into ayahuasca, because I've been hearing about the ancestral part of it, and just wanting to figure out, because I only know my family as far as my grandmother.
Yeah.
I've heard a story about me having a great grandmother somewhere that's probably like that was German or something like that.
Oh, really?
And that's as far as like I possibly know. So I want to go down this journey to see what feelings I may have while I'm envisioning or not envisioning anything.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just like no vision, but like a knowing that you're working with these like ancestral energies.
Yeah. Something that was there already, but they're putting that magnifier on it so you can see it more
and then
clearly.
sometimes in ceremonies they will sing to that, right? And call on like ancestral energies and start drumming, and then you're like, it just comes and you don't. So working with the medicine, for sure you definitely could have some experiences like that.
I'm pretty sure I am. And I'm confident that I'm going to, because I was waiting for the right time when it felt right for me to go, I'll do an ayahuasca ceremony. Because a long time I was like, nah, I'm not ready for it. I'm not saying no because it's bad. I'm just saying no because I don't think I'm there yet. Yeah. And now I feel like I'm there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's definitely where you got to be. I got introduced to it through my therapist.
Wow. Nice.
I was seeing a hypnotherapist at the time, and she was trying to help me stop smoking cigarettes, and I was on my spiritual path. I was on my healing journey for a few years, but and it's a big but. I kept like fucking up.
Yeah.
Every month, once a month, once every other month, I would go and I'd use drugs. Like, you know, when I use drugs, I use hard drugs like opiates and just, you know, and yeah, so I was still in that kind of like cycle for maybe 2.5 years. Yeah, and then I saw this therapist, and we were talking about. I was telling her how plant medicines changed my life, and then she was like, "Oh, really? Like, if you're ever ready to sit with ayahuasca, you let me know." And then,
boom,
and then it just aligned one day, and then yeah, it's been great ever since then. I mean, I haven't used in over 2 years.
Yeah.
That's super cool for me to say, like, you know.
No, please, you're proud.
Yeah, no, it's cool to say because it's like it's a difficult journey for sure, and but yeah.
I mean, I'm a person that don't really find a lot of things difficult. I find most things challenging, but I can understand overcoming a habit, right? Overcoming something, doing something like so naturally, or making something become so naturally, and then overcoming to stop that is just it's difficult. There's no other way to say it. It is difficult, but having the tools and having the strength and having the intention to want to overcome it is stronger than the addiction itself.
For sure. We're a lot stronger than we know.
Yeah.
Shit.
And then also I'm happy to know that, you know, there are people that go do things when it feels right, and not because just to do it, right? It is not just, oh, I heard about it, so I'm gonna do it. Like, I heard about it, let me see how it feels, and let me see how it resonates with me. Okay, yeah, my body likes that. Let's go for it. Sometimes we'll go into things not necessarily, and I'll say it, that the hape, I went into it not necessarily knowing everything that I was going through, but once. And then it was an immediate shock. But then once I started to like let it be a little bit before we did the other nostril, then I was like, all right, let me start accepting and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm still happy that I had that experience with you.
Cool.
Thank you.
I got some in my bag just in case.
You're not gonna get me twice, Adam.
Oh shit.
No.
Yeah.
We're definitely gonna have like that experience, and I think even the next time we do it, having like a little bit more ceremonial, would be fire.
Super down.
Yeah, and the way we did it was perfectly fine.
Well, I mean that's
like
Jamila, you know, that was Mila. So
she
just called me up and told me to bring some hape. So
I appreciate that. Before we go, I would like for you to send love to somebody, and please, you can also vent about anything that you would like. This is your space and time to do so. So yeah, send some love to somebody and vent about whatever you want.
I send love to my beautiful wife, who's always holding it down. She's been with me through this whole healing journey ever since I was 19 years old. So she's seen me at my bottom as someone who was addicted to heroin and opiates and shit, and now moving on to this path, and like even getting the opportunity to like speak about it, and like maybe hopefully, you know, I get a calling to inspire other people. So she's always held me down, always been with me. I love her, and I love you, baby. Sending my love to you. Yeah. What was the other thing you said?
If you want to vent about anything you want.
No, I got nothing to vent about, man. Life is good. We good. Yeah, everything's good. Health in the body, love in the heart, peace in the spirit.
Perfect. Well, this is the moment. Usually, this would be great for podcasters because this is why I tell them, like, you know, do you want to promote anything? But you know, if you want anybody to follow you, promote you,
not yet. I got some things I'm working on, but yeah.
I mean, when the time is right.
I got the vintage souls. My sister's our brand over here, Vintage Souls LA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm working on some things right now for me and my wife. We're putting this whole like holistic thing together.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah. So a little business that we're starting.
Oh, nice.
So yeah. Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about that afterwards, so that we can
Yeah.
put it out when the time
Yeah.
is right.
Cool.
And of course, I want to let you know when that time comes, I'll be
Oh,
happy and love
nice.
to have you back, or maybe
Yeah.
have both of
Cool.
y'all back, and we could talk about that too.
Yeah, that'd be dope. Yeah, for sure.
Perfect. If you can, please rate, review, follow us, subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We are literally everywhere. Ménage À Mind. Social media at MENAGEAMIND. And we got a Patreon. Please sign up to patreon.com/Ménage À Mind. You get bonus content. We have a lot of things over there.
On the next episode of Ménage À Mind.
Not in a suicidal way, like I wanna off myself right now.
But why does it impact you to this degree? To some degree, it's their life. It's their decision.
Been living for a long time. I haven't died for a long time.